Welcome back to Project Aviate. Today we're diving deep into the story of one of the most legendary fighters of the Cold War, the MiG-29 Fulcrum. Born in the shadows of nuclear tension and rivalry between East and West, this aircraft didn't just dominate the skies, it became a symbol of Soviet engineering pride, power, and prestige. The Cold War was an era defined by fear and fascination. Both NATO and the Soviet Union pushed technology to its limits, racing to build faster, deadlier, and more advanced aircraft. While the Americans had the F-15 Eagle and the F-16 Fighting Falcon, the Soviets were determined to answer with something equally formidable. Inside a dimly lit design bureau in the 1970s, Soviet engineers worked relentlessly over blueprints and metal frames, sketching what would soon become one of the most recognizable fighter jets in history, the MiG-29. First prototype sat in a massive hangar, surrounded by mechanics and technicians, its angular wings and powerful engines hinting at something extraordinary. Every bolt, every curve, every design choice was built for agility and dominance. And when the day came for its first flight test, the Fulcrum roared down the runway of a secret Soviet airbase. The twin engines erupted with thunderous power, and as the jet lifted into the morning mist, the world unknowingly witnessed the birth of a legend. The MiG-29 wasn't just another fighter. It was designed to win close-range dogfights, to maneuver like a dancer in the sky, and to challenge NATO aircraft head-on. With its thrust-to-weight ratio and advanced aerodynamics, the Fulcrum could pull off turns that seemed impossible. Soviet pilots called it a dream, responsive, fast, and almost alive in their hands. The cockpit, filled with analog gauges and glowing displays, represented the perfect balance of simplicity and functionality. Inside that cockpit, a pilot felt not like an operator but like part of the machine itself. Soon, formations of MiG-29s began to dominate Soviet airspace. Four aircraft flying in tight precision, cutting through the clouds, their red star insignias glinting under the sunlight, it was a breathtaking display of Soviet strength. Western intelligence quickly took notice. NATO analysts pored over photos and radar data, trying to uncover the secrets behind the Fulcrum's speed and agility. The West had respect but also fear. Because now, the Soviet Union had a fighter that could rival the best America had to offer. Simulated dogfights within Soviet training grounds revealed just how agile this aircraft truly was. The MiG-29 could climb like a rocket, roll in an instant, and recover from dives that would destroy lesser jets. Its engines were powerful enough to produce visible shockwaves, and when afterburners engaged, the aircraft lit up the sky like a streak of fire. Even its radar system was advanced for its time, capable of tracking multiple targets and locking on with deadly precision. At air bases across the USSR, entire fleets of MiG-29s lined the tarmac, ready to scramble at a moment's notice. Pilots trained tirelessly, practicing interception maneuvers and formation flights. The Fulcrum became a constant guardian of Soviet skies. Its very presence on the ground was enough to remind the world that the balance of power was still uncertain. During harsh Russian winters with snow blanketing the runways, the sight of these sleek jets preparing for takeoff symbolized the strength and resilience of Soviet aviation. In one iconic scene that defined the Cold War era, radar operators inside dim, greenlit control rooms tracked potential enemy aircraft while MiG-29s were scrambled into the air. The radar screens glowed with moving blips, each representing life, risk, and strategy. The Fulcrum's mission was not just to fight but to protect, to stand as a symbol of deterrence in a world constantly on edge. One of the reasons the MiG-29 earned its legendary status was its unmatched performance at low altitude. It could fly mere meters above treetops at blistering speeds, using terrain to evade radar detection. Watching a MiG-29 streak across a forested landscape, its engines roaring, its wings slicing through the air, was a breathtaking sight, both terrifying and beautiful. The combination of raw power and elegant engineering made it a masterpiece of Soviet design. The Fulcrum's twin RD-33 engines were a marvel in themselves. When they ignited their afterburners, blue flames burst out from the exhaust, pushing the aircraft to speeds that few fighters could match. It wasn't just about speed, it was about dominance, about control, about the ability to decide who ruled the skies. When the MiG-29 finally made public appearances at Soviet airshows, the world watched in awe. Crowds cheered as pilots performed tight loops, barrel rolls, and the famous Cobra maneuver, where the aircraft would suddenly pitch its nose straight up, then drop back into controlled flight. It was a move that defied physics and stunned Western observers. For many, this was the moment they realized the MiG-29 wasn't just a tool of war, it was a work of art. Across the ocean, in intelligence offices filled with cigarette smoke and satellite photos, NATO analysts studied every frame of these airshows. They were fascinated by the Fulcrum's agility and perplexed by its engineering. How could something so heavy move with such grace? The MiG-29 had become not only a technological marvel but also a psychological weapon. It represented everything the Soviet Union wanted the world to believe, that it could match or even surpass the West. Even after the Cold War ended, the MiG-29 refused to fade into history. It continued to serve in air forces around the world, upgraded and modernized for the new era. Versions like the MiG-29 SMT featured digital avionics, advanced radar, and extended range, proof that this aircraft's design was far ahead of its time. Decades after its first flight, it still commands respect wherever it flies. The Fulcrum's legacy lives on, not just as a machine of war but as a symbol of an era when the world's greatest powers measured their strength through the sky. Every line of its fuselage, every roar of its engines tells a story of ambition, rivalry, and the unyielding human drive to push the limits of what's possible. And as the sun sets behind a lone MiG-29 soaring into the crimson sky, it reminds us of a time when the fate of nations could rest on the wings of a single aircraft. The MiG-29 Fulcrum isn't just a Cold War icon, it's a living testament to human innovation, to courage, and to the enduring spirit of aviation itself. If you enjoyed this journey into the skis of history, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Project Aviate for more deep dives into the world's most fascinating aircraft. Until next time, keep your eyes on the skis because every legend has a story and every story deserves to fly.